Greetings all, Shane Bruce, Resto Ma Daisy, and we've got a new project we are starting today. This is part of a package deal for a treasured customer from Ohio. He sent down a whole wad of guns for me to evaluate, pick out the best three, and mod each one of them slightly differently according to his wishes. So let's take a look at gun number one. The first one we're going to start with is this Daisy model, or excuse me, number 111. Model 40. Now look at that roll stamp. That is probably one of the prettiest ones of these I've seen in a while. Good and crisp, nice and easily legible. Now this is a post 46 111 model 40. It's got a blued finish, factory blue finish, and it's not all that bad. Probably would rate out in most people's opinions at around what, 75%, 80% original finish. It's a post 46. You can tell that because of this little item here. That's a tack weld on the front sight band. It is a bottle cap Daisy, and the bottle cap is in pretty fair shape. It's had a rough life on the tip, but we'll notice that the spring is present, and the, let's see, so once we get the focus done, and the seam for the air tube is in pretty good nick. It's not split, it's not bowed. The gun shoots okay. I've already had it on the chrono before I took it apart, and she's averaging right around 255, which isn't shabby at all. Now here's the really neat thing about the gun. This is an original Daisy 111-40 mainspring. You can tell that it's original because it has a slight copper color to it. This one is really unique in that it's not sacked. Take a look at that. It rolls nice and straight and true. For comparison purposes, this is a Cobalt 327 mainspring. And as you can see, they're very close, identical. Almost identical in length and loop count. Let's get that reversed so it's actually easier to see. Well, it doesn't quite spin up the way I wanted it, but hey, same basic length, same basic wire diameter, same basic numbers of turns. But the original spring will always have this copper wash to it. The plunger assembly is in great shape too. You'll notice that there's not a whole lot of stropping going on. In other words, the spring has not been wearing on the plunger assembly its entire life. It actually looks probably pretty much like it was when it was installed at the factory. Now here's another neat thing on this gun. Somebody's been inside it already, and the reason I can tell that is because it has a replacement leather abutment seal, and that is a different color than the old factory plunger seal that you can see here. And this is the old style plunger assembly that has the little top hat that the air tube sits on. This is what you would normally expect to see when you pull something out of one of these guns of this age. A leather seal that's on its way out. But in this gun's particular case, it's had some tender love and care, and it's looking pretty good. The classic metal trigger, it's in fair shape. It's got a little bit of banging going on from the base of the plunger assembly, where the sear locks up with the back of the plunger when the gun fires. And of course, because it's an older style air tube, it uses the short pin that does not extend past the sides of the plunger assembly itself. That's a fundamental change that occurred as time went on. And it's a low pivot aluminum lever, and the hardware is in pretty good shape, although it's kind of mismatched. This is an example of a top stock screw from these guns of these eras, which are significantly bigger than the current iteration you'll find. Also has the old Latigo loop there. Leather is still intact and still surviving. The stock on the gun is really nice. I mean, this is a Fred Harmon roll print. It's in good shape, good crisp stamp, no signs of cracking in the normal suspected locations. Along here you would normally find some sort of fatigue. Trigger spring's in good shape. Let's flip it over and look at the back side. Once again, a nice piece of poplar. It's not, you know, jazzy jazz bow, but it's serviceable, and it's in pretty good nick. Doesn't have any major scratches, gouges, or claw marks. Somebody somewhere sometime did put a nail in it, probably as an attempt to keep it from sliding in a rack, or possibly to serve as a sling point. The forearm itself is awful nice too, you know, for what it is. A little paint, could be cleaned up. But what the customer wants is, we're going to fire blue the steel, take this down to bare metal, fire blue it, get rid of the rust, and then we're going to stick one of these stocks on there. We're not quite sure which one yet. And then a forearm of some length will go on the gun. So it will be fire blued It will have custom wood on it, but we will not modify the interior. This one will stay internally stock, and that is as per the customer's wishes. So I'm hoping that this project doesn't take forever and a day to get done. And we will move on to the second gun of the 3-gun lot later this week. This is Shane Bruce with Rest on My Daisy, signing off.